Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Hello, welcome to another episode of In the Trenches with Gang Green. I'm your host, Bubbs. Today is Wednesday, August 20th. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far today. This is episode 609 of the In the Trenches with Gang Green podcast. I thank you, as always, for joining me. For those tuning in on YouTube, make sure to please like and subscribe. Of course, appreciate all of those tuning in on all the different audio podcast platforms. And Darren Muji has made another trade. Earlier today, the New York Jets traded for Ja'Wan Briggs, defensive tackle run stuffer from the Cleveland Browns. And a little bit after that, earlier today, they made a move for Harrison Phillips. The Jets and Vikings struck a deal, and the New York Jets have now made two really shrewd moves this afternoon, going into today and leaving today. The defensive tackle depth behind Quinnen Williams, next to Quinnen Williams, with this Harrison Phillips addition is much stronger than it was just a couple hours ago, and certainly much stronger than it was entering training camp. Darren Muji and this New York Jets front office, Aaron Glenn as well, identified a need, identified two solutions, and you look at this depth now behind Quinnen Williams, Harrison Phillips, obviously Ja'Wan Briggs as well, much, much stronger than where it was entering today. And you have to give Darren Muji a lot of credit. And before we get into Harrison Phillips and what exactly he brings to the table, right? You look at this past offseason for the New York Jets and the way that they approach the defensive tackle position. They brought in a lot of different names. They brought in, you want to characterize them as a lot of different bodies. A couple veterans. Obviously, you had guys like Leonard Taylor returning as well, but you brought in the likes of Jay Tufele and Byron Cowart and Derek Nottie and different names like that. And you wanted to see if any of those guys would emerge, if any of those guys in this defense during the summer in preseason would stand out, play a role next to Quinnen Williams, and more importantly, play a role as depth pieces on this defensive line. And for the most part, it just hasn't happened. While Jay Tufele's had a very good summer, and while Leonard Taylor has shown some flashes as a pass rusher, and he's a nice rotational piece as a pass rusher, from a run defensive perspective, there was still a lot of questions. And we've still had all these questions coming out of training camp with the last practice taking place earlier today. Byron Cowart, after a strong start to training camp, after a strong spring, got hurt. He's been down for the last couple weeks. Derek Nottie has been a complete no-show. The guy looks like, if we're being fair, he has aged years in just one offseason. He does not look the same for a guy that was starting for the Kansas City Chiefs over the past couple seasons. He has not looked the same, and he's potentially heading to be a cut candidate for this team now with these new additions. So you exited training camp with there still being holes and still being a need. And to go out there this afternoon and make two trades and pick up two pieces at the defensive line room that, are they going to bring a ton from a pass rushing perspective? No. But the Jets don't need that. They need guys that are going to be able to stop the run, clog up running lanes, be physical in the interior, provide solid depth, because they haven't had that, and you haven't seen many guys emerge this summer, and they did that this afternoon. And when you look at Harrison Phillips, and we broke down Ja'Wan Briggs in my training camp recap episode, so if you haven't checked it out, definitely go do so. When you look at Harrison Phillips, this is a piece here with the Byron Cowart injury that essentially slots in as your defensive tackle number 2 next to Quinnen Williams. So your front four now projects Jermaine Johnson, Quinnen Williams, Harrison Phillips, and Will McDonald, plus Ja'Wan Briggs, the depth you've added, Byron Cowart, who, if healthy, is also depth. Essentially, your defensive tackle 2 or 3, rather, will be Byron Cowart. Your two starters, Harrison Phillips, Quinnen Williams. You have Leonard Taylor as the rotational pass rushing piece. J2 Fellies, who's popped this summer as a pass rusher as well. And Jawan Briggs, who's your run stopper. The depth is much more well-rounded and much more supported now behind Quinnen Williams. So the trade for Harrison Phillips, Jets receive Phillips. The Vikings receive 2 sixth-round picks, one in 2026, the other in 2027. They also receive a 2027 seventh-round pick. And the Vikings also agreed to pay $3.7 of Phillips' $7.4 million salary this season. So the Jets are essentially getting a starting level player here for half the cost, which is also a really good job by Darren Muji as well. Phillips, unlike Briggs, a name that I think many people have heard of. He's been around now for a while. He's entering his 8th season, spent the first 4 years of his career with the Bills, and in the last 3 years has spent with the Minnesota Vikings, playing in all possible 51 regular season games, 17 games each of the past 3 seasons, so has been a reliable piece there, has played 96 games in his career, 29 years old, so still south of 30, 6'3", 307 pounds, was a 2018 third-round pick, 96th overall, went to Stanford. So he's been around, brings some experience, slots in next to Quinnen. And when you look at his numbers last year, 17 games played, 672 snaps, 56 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 21 run stops. He only had 2 sacks. He's only had 8 sacks in his career. He only had 15 pressures last year. He only had 10 quarterback hurries and only added on about 3 more quarterback hits. So the point is, the pass rushing, that's not what he brings. But what he is, he's a good, very good against the run. He was 13th in run defense snaps this year among defensive tackles. And if you go back actually a year prior, he had 21 pressures, or not 20, rather. He had 39 run stops. I mentioned the 21 run stops this year. Last year, he had 39 run stops, which actually ranked 6th in the NFL among defensive tackles, defensive linemen. So this was a guy that was inside the top 7, top 10 in that category, is one of the better, more underrated starting level defensive tackles, starting level run stopping defensive tackles in the NFL. And you look at also 2023, that same year, his highest grade came with his run defense grade, which was above average at 65.6 on the season. So the run defense is there, veteran in this room, nice piece now next to Quinnen Williams, and balances Quinnen Williams well as that one tech, right? Quinnen, your pass rusher, Phillips, the run stopper, and behind them, Byron Cowart, Jawan Briggs, J2 Fele, Leonard Taylor. That's much stronger than a starting unit of Quinnen and Cowart, and in your depth being Derek Nottie, J2 Fele, Leonard Taylor. Much stronger today, much stronger right now than it was earlier today. Credit to Darren Muji. And now we wait and see what's next with some of these other spots on the roster. One of the big ones being the wide receiver position, right? Report came out earlier today from Diana Rossini. Jets have been monitoring the market, the trade market for wide receivers. Is that something that Darren Muji ventures down and makes a move here soon? Only time will tell. But Harrison Phillips, welcome to the New York Jets. Jets get 2 much-needed defensive tackles. Today, as Muji training camp ends, he picks up 2 pieces as the regular season nears. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts on the New York Jets going out and adding Harrison Phillips? Any other thoughts on Jawan Briggs as well? Let me know down below. Appreciate your support. Until next time, JETS. Jets, Jets, Jets.